Push 2 has been around for quite some time now, and with the release of the Push 3 bringing us standalone capability and MPE pads and loads more connections on the back, it's fair to wonder, does the Push 2 still hold up in 2025, or is it starting to feel a little bit outdated? Let's jump in and find out. Push 2 was originally released in November 2015, making a significant upgrade over the original Push 1 controller. This time, Ableton took full control over the hardware design and manufacturing, moving away from their previous collaboration with Akai on the Push 1. At the time, the Push 2 was revolutionary. It introduced a full-color, high-res display, which made the integration with Ableton Live seamless. Having the display meant you no longer had to look at Ableton Live, and you could make a full, complete track right from the Push. Pads also got an upgrade, they became more sensitive, making them more playable and expressive. The encoders were also made a lot more precise. These improvements made the Push 2 a massive success with producers and performers alike, making it an instant classic and the best controller for Ableton Live at the time. But as we all know, technology advances, it moves fast, and now we have the Push 3. With the MPE pads, the standalone capability, all the extra connections on the back and the audio interface, the Push 2 faces firm competition. Let's first look at price. So this controller is discontinued. You can no longer buy it from Ableton directly, so the price does fluctuate. I've seen this go on eBay secondhand for around £200 to £300, which makes it very affordable in comparison to the new Ableton Push 3, which is around £870 brand new for a tethered version, which means it doesn't have standalone capabilities. But if you want the standalone, it's £1,669, which ultimately led me to this video. Are you going to struggle having a Push 2 with Live 12? Are you going to feel restricted? These are ultimately the things we need to figure out today. First thing we need to think about is the compatibility with Live 12.1 and above. Quick answer, it's compatible. It works. And with the new advancement of Live 12, there's been a few new features and a few new things that we can do with the Push 2 that we could only exclusively do with the Push 3. For example, if we select clip, press clip again, we can now see the clips in session view, and we can trigger them directly by pressing the track here. We didn't have that before on the Push 2. Now we have it, which originally I did a video on the Push 3, I put it up here, saying that this feature was a game changer, and then they introduced it. And having that feature was one of the main reasons I upgraded to the Push 3. We can now move tracks around. If we hold down the track we'd like to move around, we can now simply move the encoder left or right and move the track from left to right, which we couldn't previously do. There's a few more things like that under the hood, which is adding to the argument for the Push 2 being still relevant in 2025. One of the main upgrades to the Push 3 was the MPE capable pads, which we do not have on the Push 2. They still have polyphonic aftertouch, which for most performers and producers is more than enough expression to play around with on these pads. You still have the note mode and session mode, and we still have access to all the different scales and keys. We also have access to all the different layouts. Now, with the new update in Live 12.1, we have the access to layout with macro variations. This is where we can create macro variations directly on the Push and then play them here. Again, still making it relevant in 2025. This is crazy. The main thing that's missing from the Push 2, which was a really nice advancement on the Push 3, is the jog wheel that you see on the Push 3 here. Also, there was an enter button in the middle of the navigation arrows here. Such small things, but we usually had to go add device, scroll up and down, press this button here, scroll all the way through, and then have to load from there. They are just small little improvements, but with a massive impact on the efficiency of your workflow, which I think kind of pushes this back a little bit in terms of relevance in 2025. But I mean, that's a very minor thing there. So how does the Push stack up in 2025 against the Push 3? Ultimately, I think this controller will hold its ground for many years to come. If you check out this video here, I do the Push 1, 2, 3 side by side, and you'll see the core features of the Push controller, right from 1, 2, and 3 still remain the same. And that is that you have a session view where you can play clips, and you have buttons down the right hand side where you can launch scenes. You can then flip it into note mode and play this chromatically, or you can put it in key. You can also use it in something called drum mode. Those three kind of modes stay the same, and the navigation between changing between those stays the same. The screen is still holding up in 2025 and will hold up for years to come. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It really gives you a good visual representation of what's going on in live. Now that we can see the clip view in this view as well, that means we can be in note mode playing something here, and we don't have to have fixed length selected. We can simply launch the clip, play it, then end it right within note mode. No more flicking back between, which was a bit of a weird workflow. And that's why we kind of use fixed length record to start and end. But if you know fixed length record only works in these multiples here. If you wrote a 12-bar song, which I had a chord progression with 12 bars, you're stuck with the repetition. So looping and stuff live was a bit of a struggle. With this, we have it now. So that's a really good advancement. The only thing you're not going to get is the MPE pads and standalone capability, which for most people is not needed. If you're looking for a centerpiece of your studio to control live, take you away from computer, but it's always going to stay in your studio, or you're looking for something to perform live with, always going to have it tethered to a computer, the Push 2 is still a solid option over the Push 3. You're going to save a bunch of money, and it's going to stay relevant for many years to come. If you'd like to see how the Push 2 stacks up against the 1 and the 2, you can see a video here where I've done Push 1 versus 2 versus 3. I've also done a video here where I compare the features of the Push 2 and 3 in a lot more detail. You can check that out there. Okay, bye for now. See you in the next one.